Hello guys, today's video will be a quick tour of what I've done so far in the house, what needs to be done, what needs to be replaced, for what reason I replaced some things, and for what reason some things else need to be replaced. A lot of things here need to be replaced or fixed. Let's start with the windows, shall we? Okay guys, today I will do just a quick test and see how the windows are working, because according to some people I have the deal of the century by buying my dad's house for 125,000, which is about half the price of the market of Ilty house, a house with no problem whatsoever, a functional safe house, which it's not the case for here. So let's just look at the windows for now, because my contractor came yesterday. We forgot to check the windows, and when you buy a house you get the inspection. They check the windows to see if they're working, so let's find out. So I just unlocked this one and it doesn't open. So this is one window I need to replace. Let's see for the other one. I unlock it. Another one that's not working, doesn't open at all. So it makes two windows to replace. That's bad start. 2 on 2 need to be replaced. Let's see this one here. I'm in the middle of an electrical job, so this is why I have this stuff here. So it's already unlocked. Let's see. Oh, double lock. It's opening. It's pretty disgusting, but it's opening. Is it closing by itself? It's pretty tight, but let's say that this window is working. Let's jump to the other one. The door just need to be adjusted, but this door it's working because I opened it before. Just need to be adjusted. So let's try this window here. Oh, another one that doesn't work. That's make 3 windows over 4 that need to be replaced. Let's go for the patio door that I know it need to be adjusted a lot, because it's pretty hard to close and to lock. You see how much it rises and how much this sketch is used here. So it's locked. So let's say it's working, but it need a well adjusting. I won't go there because there's only 2 windows there. I don't know if they're working, but let's try them. I guess they're working because they're, and that's a wasp right here. Don't know where she got in, but she's in. Yeah, this window is working. Let's try the other one. So your worst case scenario, if they're the same size, I could take these windows and install them in the house, but it's not ideal. You need functional windows everywhere. So now we have 1, 2, 3 window non-functional over 6. So we're 50% scoring right now. I will go upstairs. The thing upstairs is I'm scared that if I open them and if they don't close, I cannot, sorry it's pretty dark in here, I have to go outside to push them to close. But We're in the second floor, so it's pretty high, and I'm not comfortable in height. So let's try that. Yeah, that's another one not working. So over 7 windows, there's 4 not working. Very bad start. Let's try this one here. I will break it. It doesn't open much more than that. So now I have 5 windows non-functional over 8. I got 2 more here. Let's try that. Oh, this one's working, but need a lot of TLC. The bottom of the framing here is all damaged by water and weather. But let's say it's working, because it is actually working, even if there's water getting in. So we have 5 non-functional window over 9. Let's see this one, which is working, but again it's damaged by water. You can see on the bottom. So it's a score of 50%. Over 10 windows, I have 5 functional, sort of functional, and 5 that don't open at all. So now that we know which windows are working, which not, which need to be replaced, but I believe I will have to replace all of them except for the 2 in the outside extension, because they've been installed recently, like 8 to 10 years ago. They're still functional. They're made from vinyl and not wood, but the others will need to be replaced. So I have like 4 upstairs, 2 downstairs, there 6, 7, 8. So I will need to replace these 8 windows. Even those which are opening, they have been damaged by the water, so there is moisture on it, and the frame are rotten, so they need to be replaced because they might have some mushroom spores that can poison the hair, and I don't want to be sick by living in this house, because my father thought he has lung problem, when in fact it is his house who was causing all this problem. Because since I start opening walls, floors, there are mushrooms everywhere, there are mouse and rats dropping everywhere and in walls. Smell very bad. Oh, and that's the tail of a mouse. Oh yeah, that's a lot of dead mouse here. You can see another tail here. I remember my dad saying he was using poison against mouse, so this is the skeleton of a mouse. There's another one here. Wow, there's everywhere. They're all dead in that nest. It's pretty disgusting. There's a skull right here. This is the skull of a mouse. So it smells very bad. I will vacuum all that shit before I get sick. There are insects in walls, so this house was contaminated with all kind of disease. So that's why my father have lung problems, and not because of his own body creating problem. Like, he thought he was having asthma, when in fact it was his house. Because as soon as I start working in this house, I start coughing, and I cough until I remove all the insulation, and even then I will still coughing. I cough until I clean all the bottom of the crawl space and lay down gravel in there. Then I start coughing less. There's still some times when I get close to some walls, I start coughing again. And if you look right there, there's a lot of mouse dropping in the insulation. The reason why I'm not coughing like crazy is because there are plastic blocking the insulation and blocking that. But these walls will need to be open and the insulation will be replaced entirely because it's contaminated. So that means dismantling this wardrobe here because there's insulation behind that in the wall. Every exterior walls need to be open, maybe cleaned up, or probably cleaned up, and insulation remove and replace, like I did, or I will do the other side. So now that we've looked at the windows, so if you come here in the pump house, which I will probably relocate in the garage, because I know it's a big space, a big waste of space here for no reason. We can see that the floor is rotten as well. So underneath, it's an insulation of the floor of the kitchen, and this plywood go under that wall. So to replace that plywood, I need to remove the wall because it's also rotten under the oven. You can see all the nails here are rusted, which means it's probably all rotten till like here. There's also rust on the nails, so I have no choice but to open all that floor as well to replace plywood. But even if there was no plywood rotten anywhere, I would have to replace it anyway, because I will show you downstairs what it looked like. You can see that all the insulation has fallen to the ground, and it's all wet in here because it's lower than outside, and the asphalt has not the right angle, and we can see outside. So groundhog, rats, and everything are welcome under this thing because there is nothing to keep them outside. So I need to fix the skirts all around because it's not okay to be like that. But also I need to redo the insulation of the floor, but I will do the same as in the big section. I will redo the skirt around this section of the house, and I will insulate the skirt so I can heat the crawl space on this side. So it will be cleaner, it will be drier because I will keep the water away from this section as well. So it will stop attracting rotten, disease, insects, and water, which causing rotten stuff, which causing more disease and more moist and more coughing, more health problem. So yeah, all the flooring on the first floor need to be redone completely. You see that I opened the floor here. The reason was because the floor was sinking, and since I didn't know what was sinking the floor, I mean, I needed to open it, and I'm not a kind of guy to crawl under I'm not very kind of tight space, so I removed the floor because it was sinking under the supporting wall of the bathroom. Where's the beam? There was no beam there. There was only the wall built and support by the plywood because it was built between the two joists. So the only thing that was supporting that wall, which support part of the second floor, was a 5/8 thick, a 5/8 of inch thick plywood, and the other post which was holding the second floor was this one here, but now it's solid because I made it solid. Even if with the small adjustable post here, it's just sitting on it, so it's still dangerous. That's the reason why I have 4 posts here to hold that second floor. But this post was sitting on a piece of concrete, a round piece of concrete. That piece of concrete, was broken at the ground level. And as soon as I start lifting the second floor, when I drop or when I release the tension from the jack, it was just too much pressure on that concrete piece of crap and it fell. So I was very, very lucky that the jack was still under the beam, because there was no post at the time apart from the bathroom wall. So if my jack was not under the beam when this concrete junk had broken, I'm pretty sure the beam would have not survived that and would have broke. But it's not the case. I made it work. But yeah, this is the reason why I opened the floor. As you can see, the beam underneath is brand new. I had some help, but it's still being done. And as you can see, I've poured 2 pads of 12 inches of armed concrete here. I said armed because I've put a lot of rebar in there, a good framework that you will see on another video, because it need to be strong because it's holding the house. Because before that there was 2 pads of, or 2, no, I can't say footing, there was 2 pads of 30 by 30 inches, 4 inches thick concrete pad that was sinking because it was so wet under that house that when we were walking in it or on it, our boots, we were sinking about 6 inches simply by our weight walking around in that mud. And part of that mud, I found out with time, is because there's no gutter in the front, and since the land is not high enough out there, the water stays close to the house, and since inside it's about 12 inches, or it was about 12 inches lower than outside, all the standing water around the house was coming inside. That's one of the water problem, because the other one was the connector, or the drainage for the washer machine. It was not connected, and it been there or been like that for the last 10 years, because my dad's renovated his bathroom about 10 years ago, and the connection was not done properly. I could see by the way the glue was stick to the one end of the pipe that it was insert crooked in the joint or the connection, which was causing a leak there. So every time my father was using his washer machine, when it was draining the water, it was going under the house, so it kept the house, or under the walls, the crawl space, wet in all time. This is the reason why everything got rotten in there, because the beam, the main beam, the 25 feet beam that was there before, was completely rotten where there was support, so it was not supporting anything. And there was a drop from that step to the wall of the bathroom, which was the lowest point. There was a drop of 5.5 inches, and it's only about like 10 or 11 feet. It was that kind of drop, so it was an emergency. It needed to be done, but apparently it's a deal buying this house. The reason why I'm buying this house, it's because I grew up here. We moved here, or my dad built here in 87. I had at the time 13 years old. So I have a lot of memory here, and it's outside is a beautiful place. It's quiet. So this is one of the reason why I'm building it. I'm buying it, sorry. And the only reason, the other reason is because I am responsible of the succession of my fathers. Is it me that I have the responsibility to sell his items so it can be split with the inherit. We are 3, but I didn't want to wait and having the house for sale for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and having to come from wherever I would live and maintain the house, maintain the grass, keeping everything from falling apart, which was on my time, with my money. So for this reason, I decided that it will be less trouble for me just to buy the house. So when people around me say I got a great deal, it's kind of hurt because they don't know much about the house. They haven't been here since I've started fixing it, so it's kind of insulting. But let's continue. Now I've talked to you about the floor and the insulation. As I said earlier, it was contaminated everywhere. Right here, I'm working here because I'm sorry it might be a little dark, but there was a leak somewhere sometime, so I need to fix I need to fix all kind of piece like that because it's falling apart. And I need to fix this plate here because you know it's rotten. It's weakened all the walls. It's weakening all the walls. And it's like that under every window. So I believe, not these windows, but the windows on the second floor, I believe they were all leaking because you will see there's rotten wood and moisture that been leaking everywhere over the house. Let me open the door. It will be a little clear in there. In here, I mean, yeah, it's a little clear like that. And even the structure have been done wrong. So as you can see here, I have another pad. This was the only LT pad that was holding the beam. The rest was all rotten. So with my 8 feet by 4 feet wide pad, this area of the house now is strong. It won't sink anymore. It's sitting on the clay. And not exactly, it's not sitting on the clay, it's sitting on 12 inches of gravel, which the gravel sitting on the clay. So this won't sink. I'm not scared that it will sink because it won't. As you can see in this wall, it's pretty dark. I hope you can see something. There was a nest of ladybugs here and it was ugly. There was ladybugs everywhere and it still smelled very, very bad. And half of the joists were rotten as well. You can see here I flipped one because I don't want to replace all of them, so I flipped one, but because the first 6 inches still good, but you can see that there's no word for that. But I replaced the one that were not salvageable. Like this one here, there's a brand new here. There's another the other side of the wall, and there's another one there under the plywood sheet. So yeah, I replaced what was not salvageable. And that's only for the first floor because when lifting the house, because sorry, you must not see very well, but when lifting the house, of course it create damage upstairs, all the drywall cracks up there. But even, I hope you can see that, but the staircase have no joist hanger. That's not a big deal, I can fix it. I will put a jack under every joist, install a joist hanger, so it will fix the problem, because at the moment they are about 3/4 of inch to 1 inch lower than the beam. But the real problem with that, it's here, because let me turn around. The end, this beam, there's supposed to be a beam here, at least a laminated beam or a steel beam, but now there's no beam at all, because if you look properly, you can see there's only one joist going from that wall to the beam, because it's double from the beam till here, which does nothing to make the floor, the second floor, stronger. And as you can see, the side of the staircase is about 1.5 inches lower, because again, it's supposed to have a joist hanger, a double joist hanger, holding that beam from this wall to the beam that goes in the other way. So all of that part of the second floor is weakened because of that, and it need to be fixed. I will need to make a beam here and install a joist hanger there, install something that will hold that corner of the room upstairs, because I don't know if you can see the drop, because just from my eyes from here I can see the drop very well. Because there's already a big flaws in all of this, is that 2x8 are not strong enough to hold the floor with that span between beams and the wall. It's about 16 feet long, which is way too long for a 2x6. And if the piece between the joists would have been installed in a straight line, it would be better. It will hold the floor better, because staggered like that, there's no use. They are supposed to be in line, and for a span that wide, there should have been one about 6 feet from the wall, and another one about 6 feet from the beam, so it gives a strength of all the floor, and not, because at the moment these piece don't do the job they should do. Another flaw is here, because my dad want to install a grill so the heat from downstairs go upstairs. It was a good idea. Problem about that is cutting the joist, because now there's another weak spot in the floor, because even if you install these pieces beside the joints, the problem is done. This joist need to be replaced, and this is another spot where where a weak spot is created. So if you count the sinking posts, the sinking walls, the staircase with no beams, the cutted joist, and a 4x6 beam, which is another big mistake, because 4x6 is very not strong enough to hold a house, which that span, by the way, from the wall, the supporting wall, to the exterior wall, it's 16 feet. When I lifted, there was a 3.5 inch drop at this post, because this post, I don't know why, it sunk as well. The wall was sinking because it was sitting on nothing. The floor was sinking because the beam was rotten. The post was sinking because it been installed on mud. I don't know how deep was the concrete post under that thing, but it broke at ground level, so I don't know what damage have this post under the ground. So Anyway, we're not here for that. Another flaws is you can see over every window that there's no headers. There's no jack post beside windows. There's no jack post beside the doors, and there's no headers. So this is a weak spot because the exterior wall and the roof, the truss are sitting on these walls. And at the moment, the weight of the wall and the weight of the roof are crushing the windows, and it's probably because of that the windows are broken and don't open. I'm very surprised that the glass have not shattered or exploded in 1,000 pieces with all that tension. So this needs to be fixed as well, and it's built like that at every window. So let's go upstairs. I will show you what kind of damage lifting the house have done upstairs. And yes, I had to remove the stair because I need to remove the floor and the stairs were sitting on the floor. So we were already been there, seeing that this window need to be replaced, but you can see everywhere on the drywalls that the joints are broken. And the water got in here. You can see there's been moisture, and you can see the path of a mouse right here. I don't know if you're used to it, but this is the highway for a mouse. And it's pretty big, so they must go there very often. And we can see that the plate is not touching. Should have brought my phone. We can see that. What the heck happened there? It's empty under the plate. So I don't know, maybe the floor has been redone, and anyway, it's another very weak spot, so I will need to open every walls and all the ceiling in here on the second floor, because it need to be fixed. If it being water there, I need to know if there's still water coming in and what kind of damage the water have done. Because if I have rotten piece in here, but again, the roof is sitting on these walls, so if there's rotten studs or rotten plates here, it need to be replaced because the house will just collapse on itself. So this is only one room, but we can see that all the joints are broken. Part because the house is moving every season when it freezes and unfreeze, but also because I left the house to fix the first floor downstairs, you know. Here you can see that there's a lot of flies and ladybugs. There's an infestation of flies and ladybugs in here. As I mentioned, downstairs there was a nest in the walls, but you can see that there is flies everywhere in here. So you can be sure as I won't sleep in this house. I won't sleep in this house until everything is decontaminated, because I don't want to sleep with disease. I will throw out every mattress because I'm sure there's nest of mouse in every mattress in this house, and I won't sleep on it. You can be sure of that. So here as well, you can see that there being water damage. And here there's a hole, probably because there's a mouse passing here. Try to rip one of them. There you go. You can see here there's probably a mouse nest here, because try to open a bit of the insulation and see what's it look like in there, because it's pretty big. Just ripping everything off now. But anyway, you see what I mean. there was another big hole for mouse there. So of course it needs to be decontaminated from mouses and rats, because when we opened the floor down there, we found a lot of rats drop over the insulation because the crawl space was not insulated. The insulation was holding under the floor by some mesh, and there was a lot of rats drop over the insulation between the plywood of the floor and the insulation. And there was also a lot of spot between joists where there was no insulation at all. So this is the reason why this house is so hard to keep hot in winter, because there's a lot of spot where it's not insulated at all. So even if there was no infestation or no contamination at all the walls would need to be open anyway to make sure there's no insulation missing somewhere, because it's create moisture, because the exchange of temperature need to be done in the insulation and not between the interior wall and the exterior wall, because that's create moisture, creating mold, which is obviously very bad for health. And again, that's what made my father sick, even if he didn't know that. So here we're in front of the garage. So you can see that the vinyl, the siding, starting to warp, to get bent. And the reason is because the left section is sinking and it's dragging the right section with it, so it needs to be done. My contractor Martin yesterday made the tour, and on the first look he said you need to cut the garage and remove that part if you want to save this part. I will show you inside, or I will show you outside from the side first, so you see what I'm talking about. Here first you can see that the concrete post is getting out of the ground, probably because it's not long enough, so the freeze got under it every spring and it pulling it out of the ground. On the side here you can see that the vinyl is all warped. It's because the side of the garage is just wood sitting on the mud, so it got rotten and it's sinking. Yeah, the window is broken. It broke yesterday, so I will need to put a plywood in there. So if you look like it from here, you can see the bend in the roof. It's because the wall on this side, it's sinking, as I mentioned. So this wall need to be fixed. As I said, Martin on the first look said you need to remove that part if you want to save the other. But after he went in the attic, he agreed that it can be fixed with a lot of money. If you look from here, you can see the curve in the ceiling, because there's a floor up there. The curve in the ceiling happened because, again, this wall is sinking, and since everything, the truss, the floor, it's sitting on the top of this wall, but everything is sinking with it, and it's totally normal. That's all the crap I remove from the house. I will need to take a container here and take all this crap so they can dispose of it properly. So yeah, that you can see that it's sinking. So after looking at it, Martin said the truss are fine upstairs, so you can save it. But the way I have to do, I will go from outside because it's pretty tight inside, you can't see much. I need to drill 3 vice in the ground, one in each corner and one in the center. There's big vice. Some company called Vistec can do that. 12 inches or 12 inches plate screw in the ground so the frost cannot lift it. And after that, making a beam down there and make a supporting wall to lift all that thing. But again, it need to be higher enough so if I make the beam from wood, it's not touching the ground because it will rotten again and all the problem will happen in 8 to 10 years. So we said you should make a beam from concrete and make a concrete slab in there. So it's the way to save that part of the garage. But just a concrete slab and a concrete beam with the two vice, it's about close to 15 grand only to save that part, and after that I will have to fix some of things. So I think but first I won't touch the garage this year simply because I have enough of work only on the house. But next year I think I will do what Martin said on the first call. I will cut the garage in half. I will completely dismantle all this section so I can save this one, because I will show you inside. I got a lot of stock there as well. Copyright. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty dark, we can't see much, but this wall is part of the original garage, the other side. And as you can see, it's sinking as well. My father put some posts there to keep the ceiling from going down, from sinking on this side of the house, of the garage I mean, because I got too much stuff on the side, because you can see that the wall, which is built beside of this concrete slab, is sinking. I will show you from the corner here, and as you can see, the frost or the water got under the slab and it's all damaged here. So all this section here, you can see how much the garage has sunk, because when my father first built it, the paint, or you can see the line of the paint, the ceiling of this section here was lined with the paint, so the garage sunk about like 5.5 inches or 6 inches since it been built. So it's dragging this side of the garage down with it, so it need to be fixed. But before that, since this wall is part of the other side, I need to move my door at least 6 inches so I can build a wall on the slab, on this concrete slab that will hold the roof and the ceiling of this section here, so I can dismantle the other side. So here again, it's about by doing it myself, not counting my time or the labor, it's minimum a 30 grand job. So I don't know about a great deal. As I said, it's a peaceful corner of the planet, and it's where I grew up most of my teenager time, so it's kind of a sentimental value. But Martin will come back to me with an estimate or a quote on the job if he was doing it, a contractor price, I mean, with labors and all that stuff. So I have an idea of, not me because I'm doing the job, but if someone else who pay to fix the house, who buy the house and pay to fix the house, how much will it cost him to make that house livable? Because at the moment it's not livable. My poor father living in that house, it's hard. It's hard because my father took his life. Yeah, I guess that's just one other problem on his shoulder that he could not live with it anymore. But yeah, when people around me, very close to me, says it's the deal of a century paying $125 for this house, for this property, it hurt a lot. So I will leave you on that, guys. I hope you will bear with me for all this project, because I will need your support on that. There's up and there's down. There's way down or down sometime when I'm working on this house. So all the way I will appreciate your support very much. But on this, I wish everybody a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified as soon as I will release the next video on this project or another video, because you all probably know by now that in winters, when I don't have big project like that, I'm doing project on gamings or more do-it-yourself stuff, so kinds of thing like that. So this is it for now. So on this, I wish everybody a great day and see you later. Bye.